My sister ruined my wedding day, then karma showed up at hers. The sprinklers exploded as my sister lifted her glass and chirped, "To true love." I am Hannah, 29, a surgical nurse who lives by checklists. I married Daniel because he is steady, kind, and honest about fear. We planned a modest, paid-in-cash wedding, good food, a small band, and vows we wrote at our kitchen table. I wanted one day that was simple and true. Instead, artificial rain soaked the room while our guitarist fished a pedal board from a puddle. On the sidewalk, dress heavy and makeup running, I counted guests the way I count sponges. The fire chief said someone pulled the alarm by the kitchen. The camera that should have seen it was under maintenance. The DJ played breakup songs I never approved. The florist invoice listed orchids we never ordered. I was the bride, and yet I felt like a case number. A wedding is logistics. I saved for years and kept every invoice in a tab binder. My sister, Brooke, promised to elevate the brand. She talks like life is an ad. When I picked a T-length dress, she said, "Bold choice, if you can pull it off." When I declined a carriage, she said, "Budget is a kind of aesthetic." Hours earlier, small things tilted. The florist called to confirm an orchid switch. The DJ emailed about a last-minute playlist. A bridesmaid texted that Brooke moved the seating chart because the original looked cheap. I corrected each item and kept moving. Nurses moved forward. I told myself they were vendor errors. I told myself Brooke was loud, not cruel. At 7:42 p.m., alarms shrieked and sprinklers opened. Daniel squeezed my hand. Brooke grabbed the microphone. "Everyone stay calm," she said brightly. "Some people can't handle heat." Guests looked at me, then away. A busser swore he saw a woman in a white silk wrap near the pull station. The camera feeds were dark. My mother cried over photos we would never take. I should have cried too. I went clinical instead, checked older guests, logged names for refunds, handed out towels. Daniel said, "We will redo this. We will make it right." Brooke hugged me for the phone's filming and whispered, "Don't spiral, hon. It's a story." I lost a day I can never replace, but not my memory and not my binder. Karma would arrive wearing white, and I would bring the receipts. I grew up beside Brooke's spotlight like a plant beside a porch lamp. We shared a room until middle school, but only one of us learned to sleep through applause. Brooke collected roles, I collected lists. When a teacher asked, "Who wants to present?" Brooke's hand rose before the question finished. Dad called Brooke my star and me steady, the word you use for furniture. Aunt May squeezed my shoulder and said steady keeps bridges from falling. Brooke hated silence. She filled rooms with adjectives and ideas that needed other people's money. "It's called vision," she'd say. In our family, peace meant applauding and paying. To outsiders, we looked synchronized. Inside, we traded compliments shaped like knives. When I got into nursing school, Brooke toasted to jobs that travel, then added, "You'll always have work because people always get sick." As adults, it hardened. I saved an emergency fund. Brooke saved for a backdrop wall. She asked vendors for friend rates on my behalf without asking. When I objected, she texted, "You're welcome, babe." She needs to be the hero. The freshest cut came 2 weeks before the wedding at my shower. I chose a simple brunch. Brooke arrived late and hugged me like a publicist. Her gift was a rhinestone hairpiece I had declined twice. "Trust me," she told the room. "Minimalism is code for fear." When I didn't gush, she stage whispered, "Hannah marries a dependable man in a dependable dress." After guests left, she tidied and opened my vendor binder. Deposits paid. Timelines printed. "Bold," she said. I could have optimized every line. Optimized for what? I asked. "Impact," she said. "Brand." "Marriage," I said. She laughed, slid the hairpiece back, and patted the binder. That night, Daniel found me rearranging sticky notes. "We won't let her turn this into a show," he said. I believed him. He never promises lightly. Mom's peace was a blanket, not a boundary. "Let Brooke feel included," she'd plead. Avoiding Brooke's feelings meant paying Brooke's invoices. I allowed small compromises, a mic for her toast, a cocktail hour song, chair sashes she swore would elevate. I told myself generosity buys quiet. Instead, it bought access. Then Brooke asked for my seating chart file, just to proofread continuity. The first red flags arrived like polite emails. A florist invoice appeared in my inbox, thanking me for upgrading to orchids. I never approved orchids. Brooke had mocked my daisies as cheap filler. I assumed misclick. I called the florist, who chirped, "Your sister confirmed the change." The DJ followed. Here's the final playlist. It was heavy on breakup anthems and club songs. When I opened the attachment, the metadata said, edited by Brooke L. I told myself she was being helpful, but my stomach flipped. Then Daniel showed me his phone. An anonymous number had texted him the night before. "She's hiding things. Ask for her college transcripts before you vow forever." Daniel is rational. He blocked the number. Still, his shoulders tightened. "This has her fingerprints," he said. I defended Brooke because defending her was reflex. "She'd never," I said. He raised an eyebrow but dropped it. 3 days before the ceremony, the venue manager called. "Your sister asked about changing table placements," she said carefully. She wanted the head table shifted to the center. I'd already measured flow and emergency exits. It wasn't safe. I told the manager no. She sighed with relief. "I thought you should know." I did what I always do, patched. I called vendors, confirmed details, rewrote checklists. My binder grew tabs like scar tissue. I told myself accidents happen in clusters. I told myself Brooke loved me in her strange, sharp way. At the rehearsal, Brooke arrived with color-coded improvements and tried to hand them to the coordinator. When I pulled her aside, she smiled sweetly. "Just making sure your night isn't forgettable." "Stop interfering," I whispered. Her eyes flickered. "Don't be dramatic. I'm protecting you from yourself." Guests mingled, unaware of the fissure. Aunt May caught my glance and mouthed, "Write everything down." That night, I started a private log. Dates, times, invoices, texts. Daniel kissed my forehead. "You're building a chart," he said. "Like a patient file." I nodded. "And someday we'll know the diagnosis." Then, on the morning of the wedding, the photographer canceled with a one-line email. Per Brooke, services no longer required. And that was the moment I knew sabotage had moved from suspicion to proof. Escalation isn't loud at first. It creeps in with whispers. The morning of the wedding, my phone buzzed with the photographer's cancellation. Per Brooke, services no longer required. I dialed him instantly. He answered, nervous. "Your sister said you'd found a cheaper option. She insisted I keep the deposit as a cancellation fee." My chest burned. "I never canceled," I said. "I need you here." He hesitated. "Booked another couple already." "I'm sorry." I swallowed anger and switched to triage mode. Daniel's cousin had a decent camera. "Cover what you can," I begged him. He agreed, eyes wide at the chaos. Then the seating chart vanished. The planner swore she'd set it the night before. Guests wandered confused. Parents sat in the wrong row, and Brooke declared, "Flexibility is elegance." When I confronted her, she smiled for the crowd. "Relax, Han. No one remembers chairs." During the vows, the DJ played the wrong track, an upbeat breakup anthem. I turned. He mouthed, "Your sister sent me the list." My blood iced. Daniel gripped my hand tighter. And then, the alarm. A shriek over microphones, red lights, and sprinklers drenching satin and paper programs. Guests stumbled outside, murmuring, snapping photos that would circulate later with captions like "Bride in Chaos." The fire chief met me on the curb. Someone pulled the kitchen alarm. Camera offline. My bouquet drooped waterlogged in my hand. Inside, Brooke commandeered the mic. "Stay calm," she announced, lipstick intact, hair unscathed. "Some people can't handle heat." Laughter, awkward and cruel. Guests eyed me, sympathy mixed with doubt. A busser whispered he'd seen a woman in a white wrap near the Pole Station minutes before the chaos. Brooke wore white silk. I pressed him for details, but he shook his head, afraid. By midnight, vendors demanded balances for ruined goods. Insurance wouldn't cover false alarms. The total was brutal, thousands gone in a spray of sprinklers. Daniel rubbed my shoulders. "We'll recover. She won't always win." But Brooke leaned in for cameras and whispered so only I heard. "Consider this a rehearsal. Imagine what I could do for real." And that was the moment I realized Brooke's sabotage wasn't impulsive, it was planned. The fallout felt colder than the rain that ruined my gown. Vendors wanted balances in full. Sprinkler water doesn't excuse contracts. Daniel and I sat at our kitchen table, the binder between us now swollen with invoices warped from moisture. Every page felt like failure. Mom called, voice hushed. "Don't escalate." Brooke meant well. She just goes too far sometimes. I nearly laughed. Too far was a broken heel or a forgotten bouquet, not a $12,000 disaster. Dad refused to take sides. "You're both my girls," he said. "Let's not make enemies of family." Easy words from someone who hadn't written a single check. Brooke, meanwhile, turned chaos into content. She posted a filtered reel. "When life gives you rain, dance through it." Comments praised her grace under pressure. Not a word about me, drenched, face stiff with humiliation. Some relatives rallied to her. She kept the guests calm. An uncle said, "She's a hero." My jaw ached from biting back. Even Daniel's parents hinted that maybe I had been too controlling. That week, the florist admitted Brooke requested the orchid upgrade. The DJ forwarded me a final playlist, email signed with Brooke's initials. The photographer sent a screenshot of a cancellation text from her number. Proof stacked like bricks, but when I showed Mom, she whispered, "Don't destroy your sister." Only Aunt May gave me clear air. At her cottage, over chamomile tea, she said, "You don't win by screaming louder. You win with records." She slid me a fresh notebook. Dates, times, names. Build the truth. So I started. Every invoice. Every text. Every screenshot. I logged the anonymous message to Daniel. I printed the DJ's email metadata. Daniel helped, steady and quiet. "You're charting symptoms," he said. "Someday you'll diagnose the disease." But family dinners grew hostile. Brooke sat smug, dropping hints about bad vendor choices and brides who panic. Dad chuckled. Mom shushed me. My binder closed with a slap. I felt exiled in my own bloodline, accused of being ungrateful for Brooke's help. And then a bank statement revealed a refund check deposited into Brooke's account. The clue arrived folded inside a bank envelope. While sorting our joint account mail, I spotted a photocopy slipped in error, a vendor refund check, $1, $800 from the florist, stamped, deposited. The account number printed beneath matched Brooke's personal account. My pulse thudded. I called the florist immediately. "Yes," the manager said, cheerful. "Your sister requested cancellation of the daisy order after confirming orchids. She said the bride changed her mind, so we refunded the first deposit." "She's not the bride," I snapped. Silence on the other end. Finally, I assumed she had authority. She presented the contract number. I thanked her and hung up, hands trembling. That refund could have saved us catering overtime. Instead, it padded Brooke's balance. I showed Daniel. He stared at the slip. "This isn't sabotage by accident. This is theft." He wanted to call Brooke immediately. I shook my head. "Not yet. We need a trail." So I checked my planner's group chat archives. Buried in the scroll was a screenshot. Brooke messaging the DJ. "Replace her list with this one. Bride is overwhelmed." Dated 3 days before. The metadata proved it. Aunt May, when I visited, peered at the papers with pursed lips. "This isn't just meddling," she said. "It's malicious. Write it like a case report. Exhibit A, Exhibit B." She pulled out her old file box and offered folders. At the salon where I did a redo of my ruined hair, a stylist confided, "Funny thing, we had a booking under your name for extra trials, prepaid with cash. But you never came." I asked for the intake form. The phone number matched Brooke's. Piece by piece, a picture formed. Brooke had interfered with deposits, altered orders, and signed my name without hesitation. Each act explained one slice of chaos. I typed late into the night, binder open, documents multiplying. Daniel read over my shoulder. "You're not imagining," he said. "She engineered it." The printer spat out Brooke's fake booking receipt, hot and damning in my hands. And then a vendor quietly warned me Brooke was pulling the same tricks for her own wedding. The breadcrumb trail kept lengthening. A florist refund, a fake salon booking, a hijacked playlist. It was all enough to feel like madness, but I needed a full map. I started with the vendors Brooke had recommended. At the bakery, the manager flipped through receipts. "Strange," she said, showing me a note scribbled on my order form. "Bride-approved substitution, signature BL." She assumed it was shorthand for bride's last name, but it was Brooke's initials. The planner finally broke silence too. "I shouldn't say this," she whispered, "but your sister pressured me. She wanted me to tell guests there was a last-minute venue change." I refused. My stomach dropped. If the planner had agreed, half our guests would have shown up across town. At the bank, Daniel and I requested a review of chargebacks. The officer frowned at our documents. 2 deposits were rerouted to a different account name. Event Solutions by BL. He handed me photocopies. The business address? AP. Box rented by Brooke. Back home, I pieced it together. She wasn't just meddling. She was running scams, skimming vendor deposits, then reselling discounts to other brides in secret. My ruined wedding was collateral damage in her hustle. I confronted Aunt May with the theory. She nodded grimly. It explains her sudden designer wardrobe on no steady income. She's playing entrepreneur with other people's dreams. The timeline matched. Florist refund March 2nd, salon booking March 10th, bakery substitution March 14th, my wedding March 18th. All linked to that P.O. box. Then came the phone call that sealed it. A DJ I never hired rang to confirm a booking for Brooke's gala wedding. Deposit paid in cash. His notes read, referral from Hannah's event. My throat closed. She was monetizing my disaster to fund her own. Daniel said quietly, "This isn't rivalry anymore. It's fraud." I looked at the stack of evidence, a file thicker than my nursing protocols. And then Brooke announced her engagement party at the very same venue she had sabotaged for me. The announcement hit like a slap. Brooke posted a gleaming video. Save the date. Brooke and Tyler, engagement party at the Rosewood Hall. The very hall where my wedding had drowned in alarms and sprinklers. Guests cheered in the comments, oblivious to the irony. Daniel watched me reread the post. "She's flaunting it," he said, "like she wants you to notice. She wants everyone to forget what she did." I answered, "Rewrite history." I dug deeper. The Rosewood manager remembered me well. Soaked gown, furious vendors. When I asked about Brooke's booking, she lowered her voice. She insisted on a full prepay to avoid confusion. But the cashier's check didn't match her name. It was issued by Event Solutions BL. I wrote it down, hand steady. Then I learned Mom had co-signed the deposit. Brooke had convinced her the hall required family security. Aunt May confronted Mom gently. "You realize you're on the hook if she defaults?" Mom blinked, defensive, but her hands shook. She said it was normal, that Hannah overreacted with vendors. Meanwhile, whispers reached me. Brooke had been promising special rates to her friends through her event company. She claimed she had insider deals. I tracked one, catering. A bride in another town paid Brooke directly, thinking it was a deposit to the vendor. The vendor never saw a cent. When I showed Aunt May, she tapped the folder. "This isn't karma waiting. This is a train you can hear coming." Daniel wanted to storm Brooke's place. "We can't let her scam Mom too." But I held him back. "We need evidence in black and white. Otherwise, she'll cry and call me jealous again." So I logged the cashier's check, the P.O. box, the catering scam, and Mom's co-signature. Each page thickened the binder, turning my humiliation into an arsenal. I wasn't the only one noticing. Brooke's fiancé, Tyler, called Daniel privately. "Why is she lying about deposits?" he asked. His voice was tight, uncertain. "She says you're making trouble. But I've seen invoices that don't add up." And then Tyler asked if we'd meet him quietly before the engagement party. Tyler met us at a quiet diner on the edge of town, far from Brooke's favorite haunts. He looked younger than his years, tie loosened, tapping his coffee cup as though it could explain things for him. "I don't know what's true anymore," he said. "Every time I ask about a vendor, Brooke changes the story. One week, she says her company gets discounts. The next, she says her sister mismanaged everything and is trying to ruin her reputation. But invoices don't lie." He slid an envelope across the table. Inside, copies of checks Brooke had asked him to sign. Some were payable to vendors, others to Event Solutions BL. In Brooke's looping script. "She told me it was all part of consolidating payments," he said. "But why would deposits for flowers and DJs go through her P.O. box?" Daniel and I exchanged a look. I pulled out my binder, thick and heavy, and opened to the florist refund slip. Tyler stared. "That's the same account number as one of these." His hands shook. "She said you sabotaged your own wedding out of nerves. She said the alarm, the water, everything was because you panicked and didn't pay vendors properly." And I believed her. He swallowed hard. But then I saw the refunds, and I knew. Aunt May joined us halfway through. She placed her hand on Tyler's. "Son, you are seeing the Brooke behind the curtain. Hannah has records. You can decide what to do with them, but don't blind yourself." Tyler nodded slowly. "If I confront her, she'll spin it. She'll cry until my parents beg me to drop it. But if someone else, if the truth surfaces publicly..." He stopped, shame in his eyes. I can't marry a lie. I gathered the papers back into my binder, the weight of them no longer just mine. Tyler's voice was low, but clear. If you have proof, bring it to the engagement party. I'll back you. And that's when I realized karma wasn't random. It needed a stage and witnesses. Family dinner came a week before Brooke's big engagement party. Mom cooked her usual peace offering, roast chicken and too many side dishes, hoping food would glue the cracks. Brooke swept in wearing white, of course, flashing her diamond like a lighthouse. Tyler trailed behind, quiet but watchful. She wasted no time. Hannah, I hope you're done spreading lies, she said sweetly across the table. Vendors told me you've been sniffing around. Embarrassing, really. Daniel's fork clinked against his plate. Lies? You sabotaged her wedding. Brooke gasped, hand to chest. Perfect theater. Are you accusing me? In front of Mom and Dad. Mom flinched. Dad muttered, we won't ruin dinner. I opened my mouth, but Aunt May laid her hand over mine. Breathe, she whispered. Heroes don't argue with mirrors. Brooke smiled wider. You know, if I wanted to ruin your wedding, I'd have done more than flowers and playlists. But I didn't. You're just jealous. Her tone was syrup, her eyes knives. Jealous of what? I asked quietly. Refund checks deposited into your account. Her face tightened, then she laughed it off. Oh, Hannah, always paranoid. If you keep pushing, I'll cry. And you know how much our parents hate that. The air grew brittle. Mom rushed to change the subject. Tyler shifted in his chair, but stayed silent. I nearly caved. Nearly folded the binder closed forever, just to end the war. But Aunt May leaned closer. Not yet. The truth comes when it has witnesses ready to see. Brooke sipped her wine, smirking. Family's all about loyalty. Some people forget that. I let her think she had won that round. But in my mind, the plan had already sharpened. A meeting, neutral ground, proof on paper, no chance for her to spin. And that's when I decided Brooke's engagement party would become the stage for truth. The trap came together like a checklist. Tyler, tired of Brooke's half-truths, agreed to stand by me if I could show receipts. Aunt May helped secure a neutral ground, the Rosewood Hall's smaller conference room, under the guise of a vendor coordination meeting. We invited Brooke, told her the florist and bank officer wanted to finalize paperwork. On the day, Daniel carried the binder like sacred scripture. Tyler showed up first, pale but determined. If she spins this, I'll speak, he whispered. Aunt May squeezed his shoulder. When Brooke arrived, she breezed in with white silk draped like armor. What's this? She chirped. I'm very busy finalizing my event. Carter, the lawyer Aunt May trusted, sat at the head of the table. Calm, precise, he opened with, we're here to resolve discrepancies regarding deposits, contracts, and vendor communications. He slid copies of the florist refund and salon booking toward her. Brooke laughed. Seriously? Hannah, are you still clinging to your soggy disaster? Carter didn't flinch. He produced the bank records, the refund deposited into her account, the P.O. box she controlled, the catering invoice she pocketed. These are not mistakes, he said evenly. They are patterns. Her eyes narrowed. This is harassment. Then Tyler spoke. No, Brooke. This is fraud. And I won't marry fraud. His voice cracked, but held steady. Brooke turned scarlet, then icy. You're all conspiring against me. Hannah, you've poisoned him. You've always been jealous. I met her glare. Jealous doesn't come with vendor signatures and bank stamps. The room thickened with silence. Aunt May leaned forward. Brooke, truth doesn't need applause. It needs light. Brooke shoved back her chair, shaking. You'll regret this, she hissed. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of sister you are. But for the first time, her performance had an audience unwilling to clap. And then Carter announced he would be filing a fraud alert before her wedding date. Carter's words dropped like a gavel. We'll be filing a fraud alert before your wedding date. Brooke froze, the mask slipping. For a moment, she looked like a child caught stealing, but then the smirk returned. You think anyone will believe you? She snapped. I've built a reputation. I host charity galas. People see me as polished, not petty. Carter remained calm. Belief isn't required. Paperwork is. He tapped the folder of notarized copies and bank records. Vendors are already cooperating. And if law enforcement asks, they'll testify. Tyler inhaled sharply. So it's true. All of it. You ruined Hannah's wedding to fund ours. His voice shook, louder now. You told me she panicked. that she didn't pay her bills. But you stole. You lied. Brooke's lipstick smile cracked. Tyler, don't be naive. Everyone embellishes invoices. Hannah's just bitter hers fell apart. I leaned forward. My wedding didn't fall apart. You pulled it apart. I slid across the DJ's screenshot, the florist refund, and the salon booking signed with Brooke's number. Each page hit the table like a hammer. Aunt May whispered, "This is the light, child." Brooke shoved her chair back, nails digging into the wood. You all want to destroy me. But I'll spin this. You'll see. She turned to Tyler. If you love me, you'll stand with me, not with them. He didn't move. His silence said more than a speech. For the first time, Brooke faltered. No camera, no applause, no eager audience to swallow her narrative. Just evidence and witnesses who refused to blink. Her eyes darted to the folder, to Tyler, then to me. You'll regret this, she whispered. Carter calmly gathered the papers. The audit starts now. Any more false deposits will be frozen. Brooke's phone buzzed. She glanced down, face paling. Tyler leaned over and saw the message before she could hide it. His voice cut through the room. Why is there a charge from a casino on our joint account? And that was the moment Tyler realized Brooke's lies stretched far beyond weddings. The word casino sucked the air from the room. Tyler's face blanched as he held up Brooke's phone. On the screen, a charge from Golden River Casino, $2, $500 withdrawn on their shared account the night before. Explain this, he demanded. Brooke lunged for the phone. It's nothing, just a girl's night. Everyone gambles a little. You're overreacting. Carter's eyes sharpened. Casinos tied to wedding deposits? That changes this from fraud to potential money laundering. I felt my chest tighten. My wedding, my humiliation, had only been one ripple in a pond she'd been churning for months. She wasn't just stealing from me. She was draining her future husband, our mother, and anyone gullible enough to hand her a check. Tyler pushed back his chair, trembling. You lied about everything, even our savings. I thought Hannah was paranoid, but you, his voice broke. You built our wedding on sand. Brooke's bravado cracked. Don't do this in front of them, she hissed. We can fix it. I'll win it back. Win it back. His shout startled even Carter. This isn't a game. Mom, who had been silent through most of the storm, finally whispered. Brooke, tell me this isn't true. Her voice sounded older than I'd ever heard. Brooke turned her tears on, but no one moved. No one rushed to comfort her. Not this time. The fallout started instantly. The bank officer froze her Event Solutions account. Vendors called, furious about bounced deposits. Tyler walked out of the conference room without looking back. Aunt May gathered the stack of papers and handed them to Carter, who nodded. We'll file today. She'll be banned from booking under false pretenses again. At home, I opened the binder one last time. Daniel rubbed my back. You've done enough. She'll unravel without your help. But I still felt the sting. The day I dreamed of had been drowned, my reputation smeared, my family torn. Justice was starting, but closure felt far away. Then my phone buzzed with a group message. Brooke's engagement party was canceled, and the note attached made clear her entire wedding might collapse next. The cancellation notice spread faster than any of Brooke's glossy reels ever had. A simple post on her social media, engagement party postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. No apologies, no refunds mentioned. Just a bland line that hid the storm behind it. But in the family group chat, the truth leaked. Tyler's mother sent a clipped message. Vendors are demanding payment. We've hired counsel. Then she left the chat entirely. Silence followed, heavy as a slammed door. Mom called me in tears. She's devastated, Hannah. People are talking. Couldn't you have handled this quietly? Her voice cracked. Your sisters. I didn't pull alarms or steal deposits. I answered flatly. That was her. Mom sighed, defeated. I just wanted peace. Peace was gone. Vendors had begun emailing me, confused, because Brooke had booked them in my name. One even asked if I'd vouch for her honesty. I forwarded every message to Carter, who replied with steady precision. Do not engage directly. She is legally exposed now. Daniel tried to distract me with ordinary routines, grocery runs, movie nights, but I caught him scrolling comments online. Some cousins speculated I had orchestrated everything out of jealousy. The narrative was slippery. Brooke had always been skilled at painting herself as the victim. Then Aunt May showed up at my apartment with lemon cake and a printout. Read this, she said. It was a court notice. Carter had filed a preliminary fraud petition against Event Solutions BL. Vendors were invited to testify. "This isn't gossip anymore," Aunt May said. "It's evidence on record." Still, guilt gnawed at me. I didn't want to see my sister humiliated, yet she had written humiliation across my own vows and reception without blinking. Daniel wrapped his arm around me. "She's reaping what she planted. You're not karma. You're just the scribe." A week later, a photo surfaced. Brooke storming out of Rosewood Hall, makeup smeared, as staff packed up and used linens. Tyler trailed behind, grim, his ring conspicuously absent. The caption read, "Fairy tale canceled." And then Carter called to tell me Brooke herself was now under investigation for fraud. Carter's voice was steady on the line. "The county has opened a fraud investigation into your sister's business. Several vendors have filed affidavits. She may face restitution orders." I sat very still. The words landed heavier than I expected. For months I had craved accountability, but hearing it was real made me ache. Daniel touched my hand. "It's not your fault. You gave them the proof. They chose to act." Brooke's fallout unfolded quickly. Her engagement was officially called off. Tyler's parents circulated a statement to friends, citing financial irregularities. Vendors blacklisted her name. Mom cried for weeks, caught between anger and pity. Dad vanished into silence, refusing to talk about either daughter. And me? I tried to stitch a normal life back together. Daniel and I planned a small vow renewal. Just us, Aunt May, and a few friends. No sashes, no orchids, no cameras. We read our vows barefoot in a garden, the kind of ceremony Brooke would have mocked as basic. It was perfect. Therapy helped too. I learned that boundaries aren't cruelty, they're care. I told Brooke directly, through Carter, that I would no longer loan, endorse, or excuse anything tied to her finances. If she sought help, I'd support responsibly. Rides to appointments, not cash. Silence followed. Aunt May's lemon tree blossomed in spring. We sat under it with tea, and she said, "Sometimes karma is just consequences with paperwork. You gave truth a spine." I smiled for the first time without guilt. Looking back, I know envy corroded my sister's choices, but her actions gave me one gift: clarity. Milestones are fragile, worth guarding fiercely. My advice to anyone listening: keep receipts, trust patterns, and don't dismiss the small red flags. Protect your moments. No one gets to rewrite them. I lost a wedding day, but not a marriage. I lost a sister's trust, but not my own integrity. And in the end, I gained something steadier than applause: peace built on boundaries. Because when the spotlight shattered, I finally saw the beauty of being steady.